Hi, welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We are going to continue our journey in discovering one new Chinese expression a day. So yesterday we talked about 肃然起敬, this process of awe-inspiring moment that we all of a sudden get this almost like goosebumps or sense of fear generated that we show respect to something or somebody. So that's the 肃然起敬 moment. And today we have this 然. So instead of 肃然 today, we have 果然. In 果然如此, 果然如此 is commonly used Chinese expression. When you go to China, probably within, I don't know, at least 1 year or 1 month, you can hear this expression, 果然如此. It's a little bit traditional Chinese in a way of the expression. It sounds a little bit classical because characters like 然, like 如 were used. And 此 too, like 此, contemporary one would be 这. It's more plain, bland, but 此 is instantly, it tracks down to a longer history, have this, classical sense of feeling as a classical Chinese. So even if it sounds a little bit classical Chinese to me, still it's used in contemporary Chinese. We will say 果然如此. It's something happened as suspected, as you speculated. Okay, start with 果. 果 came from this convex, concave, and connected by vertical shape. That's tree symbol. So the top is the canopy of the tree. The bottom, someone said, is the root of tree. Possible. I still like to view it as above the ground. It's not underground. There's no ground symbol put in there. So it's hard to say if it's under the ground. So here, visually, it looks like above the ground. But then this arch thing, it doesn't mean something is dripping. This arch, I will view it as a spacer. So that becomes abstract. It's not a physical representation of the world. This arch means there is a space in between the canopy and the ground. And that's the main feature of a tree, right? Tree's canopy stand afar from the ground. And that's what distinguishes tree from a bush or grass, right? So that's the tree symbol. And then on the top, this semicircular, it's interesting, right? On the top is flat, but on the bottom is circular. So it's like a half circle, half square hybrid with a cross in between. So yeah, sometimes in Chinese, things get crossed to have some, I guess, indicator to mean there's things in the middle. It's not empty. It's not a sphere only. It's something within. So this crossed semi-square and circle hybrid thing, like oversized in comparison to the tree, right? So apparently it's not a representation of our physical world in proportion to the physical world. A lot of times it's out of proportion. And what's zoomed out, like what's exaggerated in its size, is what's being emphasized for this language. So when you see the tip of the tree, the top of the tree, among the canopy at least, there's something growing over there with content, right, within, and then with it's oversized like that. Just from the positioning of it. If it's something growing on top of the tree, it most likely be a fruit tree too. It's like an orchid. Is it an orchid? Oh, forget about it. So it's, for example, an apple tree. So an apple growing on top of a tree. So this depicts that. And this oversized apple would represent that fruit. And the fruit is this concept. So this oversized fruit thing growing on the canopy, among the canopy of the tree, that's what's being emphasized there. Okay, so there we go, fruit. And then we have 燃 again. We can consider it to be something burning, the fire, the dog, something mobile, right? And the meat, the meat source, I would say the nutrition. So you can view it as a cooking process, but cooking as part of food processing is ancient as well as contemporary way for humans to ingest to have food source. But that cooking process with heat, with fire, generated probably aroma of food involved as well. That moment was captured in here to mean something's burning, something related to energy, and from the energy, we can extend it into, if it's energy and the atmosphere, like created by the food aroma. So the whole sphere that you can smell the aroma, then even if it's a little bit distant from the fire, you can still smell it. You can still feel the aroma, you can still smell the food, right? So you can still feel the vibe, the energy source emitting from that center. So the whole thing talks about the sphere of the energy, which is the vibe. Fruit vibe. Okay, doesn't make sense now yet. We will continue. I will explain later the whole thing. Ru, we saw this character a lot of times. So on the left side is a female figure that has the arm folded in the front, have the hip, a little bit curve over there to show as a female figure. And actually in ancient Chinese, this female figure in particular is a daughter, is an unmarried girl, is someone's daughter. And on the right side, when it has a mouse symbol. Mouse symbol means somebody who is giving orders, giving instructions. So the girl has to follow the instruction. So this is the order receiver, this is the order giver. So two symbols combined. That means action, follow instruction. And eventually it extends into one thing follow another. There is a certain comparison or sequential relationship between the two. So somebody say something, this is done. And eventually that becomes comparison. And comparison becomes English corresponding as. So as is a comparison of something as something else, right? A as B. So I use that fruit vibe as such. Okay, such is a referral of here and now almost, right? We have the foot symbol, which specifically is the right foot. So this is a big toe, the second toe, the third toe. 3 toes and an arch of the sole of the foot. That's a weird Chinese visualization of right foot. And this right foot paired with, you can say this is a person turned around figure. So according to some scholar, that means putting the foot next to the person, actually where you see it, it's almost like the backside of the person, almost like stepping down on somebody. It's kind of a bully scene, right? So that's one explanation. The other is, this is not a foot, this is a dagger or a knife. And I guess dagger or knife were commonly used back then as, I don't know if as a weapon or something to butcher, to cut meat off of animal. So this knife thing, when it paired with another knife, kind of turning like exactly the same copy of that, but put the same copy next to it. That means comparison. You have 2 knives side by side, facing the same way, placed the same way, looks the same, yet you have to compare and make a choice of which one is the better one for you. So that's comparison. And from like half of this comparison, knife symbol paired with food symbol, and that combined to make the referral become a referral to mean here and now, like such as we observed, as we experienced. And the food symbol, I can understand because the right foot by itself, that means the foot standing right there, not moving anywhere. Stand the ground firmly, stopped right there. And the knife symbol probably also means like after comparison, like After comparison, this is the one, this is the winner, this is it. So this it, stop right here, becomes the referral of here and now, the current happening in front of us. We're not saying the past or the future or somewhere else. It's here and now. That's 此. So 果然如此. Together, it means as expected. Okay, so how does that happen? Like a why fruit? Fruit vibe as such turned out to be as expected. That's totally unexpected to us, right? Okay, 果, because in Chinese, 果, besides fruit, we also use it as a consequence. Almost like an English expression, like you're tasting the fruit of your own deeds, something like that. So fruit in English sometimes used as the consequence representation as well. 果 in Chinese, absolutely so. We put it together with 因 and 果. 因 is the beginning, the cause, and 果 is the effect, cause and effect. So 果 is the result of what you do, what you did earlier. 果 is the consequence, and 果然 means as we experienced, all these happenings are the result of the previous known behavior or known deeds. And 如此 如 is comparing, right? Comparable to this one, to here and now. And 果然如此 simply means you kind of made a forecast or prediction of something is going to, in your mind, you probably didn't write it down or announce it, as so many YouTubers are doing nowadays, like predicting something going to happen. I mean, one of you are going to hit it right? As if you're a saint or a true fortune teller. But this forecasting may not be announced. It could be your own expectation. I guess, in fact, all of us are forming expectations of what's going to happen, like subconsciously. Like we have a certain expectation of how things are going, right? And then when it turns out just as we expected, then we'll use the phrase 果然如此. It's nothing surprising you. So I put this farmland with pretty intricate landscape, what do you call it? Topography. That you can see the different height, different elevations of the land, and then cut into this flat pieces and things kind of in the stair shape, so that there are, in between the slope, there is a flat surface that's good enough to grow plants, grow crops in. And this is farmland. And I use farmland as a natural reference of the sowing, the planting the seed, and the resulting is the crop. So that's what's human experience, thousands of years experience as an agricultural society, that you're planting this, you're going to, most likely, weather condition allowing, going to have the crop that you planted. The Chinese often say 种瓜得瓜, 种豆得豆. So if you plant melon, you're going to get melon. If you plant a pea, you're going to get peas. So that's the sequence. So something we can already see going to happen because of what we did yesterday. So when it comes to today, you see the result, no surprise. You will say 果然如此, just as expected. Okay, cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.